Welcome back, everybody, to Stop Interview and Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer, and today it is just me, really. So we're going to try some new stuff. You notice I don't have the earphones on today. I don't have the microphone in front of me. Instead, I'm just going to record from my phone. Reason being is because it's been really difficult to try to edit some of these videos and put in some intro music, put in some outro music, maybe a couple cool effects in the body of the episode. But today we're trying something new. So if this turns out to be awesome, great. Maybe I'll keep doing it this way. If not, you guys want to see me go back to the old way, I'm happy to do that. So without further ado, let's begin. So I posted a comment or a post on LinkedIn that said, I don't have a guest this week, so it's just me. Do you guys want to hear anything in the topics? So getting into our first topic, we're talking about, this is from Gus Marguerite. I know I'm probably going to say your names wrong, so I apologize in advance. Gus says, no excuses. I don't know if he was just complimenting me on the post or the fact that I was doing a podcast by myself, but I'm going to interpret that as talking about no excuses. So there are a lot of excuses that we can give ourselves and that I think we give our sales managers sometimes as sales reps. One of those excuses is, nobody's answering the phone today, or yeah, nobody's in on Fridays. Sorry, boss, that's why I went home at 2 o'clock, or that's why I went to the links and started hitting some golf balls, and ultimately we just kind of took off from there. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've totally done that. Anyone that says that they haven't is a complete liar, in my opinion. But one thing I will say under the topic of no excuses, when you set a goal and you write it down somewhere, that's one of the things that I've done a lot in my journal, is actually write now what my goal is and the way that I'm going to get there and plan it out and make kind of a success map, if you will, which is just really a glorified steps on how to get to your goal. I usually accomplish my goal when I do that. It's the times that I don't write things down that will kind of mess me up because I didn't commit to it ultimately. So yeah, there we go, Gus. Thanks for the topic. Preston Golden, pipeline development. Preston, I am not an expert on pipeline development. In fact, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of books that have been written about this topic as far as developing a pipeline. First of all, let's explain what that means for people that aren't privy to the sales lingo of a pipeline. So a pipeline is referring to a metaphorical pipeline of accounts that you have coming in. Other people call it a funnel. Some people call it the hopper, or when your sales manager asks, hey guys, what do you got cooking today? That's typically what they're referring to is what's in your pipeline. So I know in the company that I work for, Universe Corporation, we actually use a funnel, and it's in our CRM. I don't know what CRM stands for, by the way. Does anybody else know what that means? I mean, you could go into the whole mathematical equation of, well, this is how many appointments I need before I can close. This is how many prospects I need to touch before I can set an appointment. You can go into all that. The way that I do it is I just put as much business in as possible, and I see what comes in out at the very bottom. I'm sure there's probably going to be somebody that comments on this video or comments on my LinkedIn page that says they have a better way of doing things. You're going to get hit up by people that are saying, oh, we can help you with your pipeline development. We can help you with this. When in doubt, just sell your butt off and let the chips fall where they may. That's the way I see it. Now, another kind of rudimentary approach that I use is I say, as long as I have at least $500 in my written not keyed, otherwise known as WNK, then into a lot of lingo that we're talking about here. As long as I have that in my written not keyed, I think I'm pretty good. And that seemed to serve me pretty well in the past. Any of you President's Club reps out there that can speak a little bit more to pipeline development, feel free, comment, put your thoughts in the video. Jordan Gross Close, the importance of listening. What? Somebody once told me, I forget who it was, but somebody once told me that if you listen close enough in your first discovery appointments or CNAs as we call them, that you will ultimately be told how to sell the deal that you're looking to close. The customer is talking to you about what's important to them, whether it's service or price or product quality, or inventory control, whatever it may be. They're going to tell you the way to sell that deal. And though those topics are typically what's known as like a hot button issue, where we actually come back to it and we continue to speak on those specific issues. Like, for example, if somebody's saying that they got shorted by their previous vendor, or they didn't like him because of X, Y, and Z, and we start talking about ABC, which is completely different, we're probably not going to be ready to sell that deal. Oddly enough, selling has a strange correlation to dating. Now, I'm not saying I'm a ladies' man, but I am married. And it's funny because when we listen to our spouse, or we listen to our boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you guys have, okay, that's typically when we get what we want, right? Which is our love and affection returned, when we're actually showing the prospect, or we're showing our spouse or other person that we care for them. For prospects, we need to show them the same thing. So that's why listening is extremely important. Remember, you have 2 ears and you have 1 mouth, which means you should listen twice more than you speak, which oddly enough is my policy when it comes to my podcast, right? Is I try to listen more and let my prospects and let my guests speak a little bit more than what I do. So Bo Davis says, maybe a story of being shut down at first that you've turned around into a deal. I know as a new sales rep, I would have loved to hear a seasoned rep telling me about turning a hard no into a new UniFirst customer. So when I was brand new and I didn't know my booty from my elbow in terms of UniFirst lingo or product or quality or really services at all, I actually walked into a company. I still remember it to this day. It's known as Eagle Radiator and Muffler, and they're actually in Placerville, California. It's a group of 4, count of 1, 2, 3, 4 employees. So it's not a very big account at all. A lot of reps would not have gone back. But me, being prideful as I am and being very competitive as I am, I go in, I sit down with the main guy. His name's Ben. And I didn't know what I was talking about. I had no clue. And he literally told me, he said, hey, listen, if you're here in a year, he said, come back in and sit down with me and we'll talk again. Because sales reps like you are a dime a dozen. And I was like, oh. Obviously, I was there longer than a year. I actually walked into his office again and said, hey, Ben, remember me? And he's like, no, not really. I said, I'm the UniFirst guy, uniform, shop towels, that kind of thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, I told you to come back in a year. And I went, well, you're in luck because I'm really good now. And we ended up signing him up, still our customer to this day. And from what I understand from my awesome service manager in Sacramento, California, Mr. Tony Schuler, shout out to Tony. He's pretty happy with us. Mitch Rubinoff said, just watched Wolf of Wall Street again last night. Lots of good potential material in there for you. Here's the thing. I haven't seen the movie, at least not all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces and clips. This is something that I think, I don't want to say they fail at it, but I feel like a lot of sales managers or branch managers or just people trying to motivate their sales teams will take this movie and they'll show the scene with Leonardo DiCaprio, who portrays Jordan Belfort, and they will show them the sales meeting portion of it where he's like, your prospect either buys or, I'm not gonna say the F word, okay? And they will get super excited about this scene, when really the way that I see it is you're taking a scene from a movie that's obviously been dolled up, that's had a lot of Hollywood glitz that's put into it, and you're trying to motivate a team based on showing them videos. To me, it's just as dumb as showing a video of Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. It's not about how hard you get hit, but how hard you get hit and keep on going. That is totally not Sly, by the way. That's not even close. Without people realizing that Sylvester Stallone never even boxed. I'm like, what are you talking about getting hit? Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You play a great boxer, fantastic movies. I love all the Rockies, but you're not going to motivate me with fake stuff, right? The other side of that coin is, to me, Wolf of Wall Street showing the movie is educational for what really happened. But from my opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, you guys don't have to share it, I wouldn't buy any product that Jordan Belfort sells. I'm not going to buy his book. I'm not going to go watch the movie. Most people forget that he cheated thousands of people out of millions and millions of dollars. Went to jail for I think he was only there for 2 years or something like that. And then he got out and he started these whole sales seminar things. Sorry, I'm not a fan. I dislike Wolf of Wall Street. I dislike what the guy stands for. It'd be the same thing as if Bernie Madoff was to get out of prison and he goes, I'm going to start teaching a seminar about how to invest. Last, Jason Parody, The Art of Closing. Oh, I knew somebody was going to bring it up in the comments. Closing, okay? I could do an entire podcast on closing, and that's basically what this podcast is really about when it comes down to it, because I have salespeople. I had Jason on the podcast, so if you haven't seen Jason's episode, I'll put the link in the comments. Go and watch it. It's fantastic. Jason, you're the man. There's no magic bullet to this, and there's so many different avenues you can take with talking about closing business, right? Because some people think it's an event, some people think it's a magic word, some people think it's a magic phrase, some people think it's a magic tactic. I like to look at it as a process. So the entire time, the whole phrase ABC, always be closing, that resonates very, very much with me, specifically because of the fact that I am always closing. If I go into an appointment, I'm not afraid to one call close that account. Meaning I'm going to go in, if there's 3 guys in there, I'm talking about our service, our product, this. If the guy's ready to sit down, I know that he's the owner and he's got time. I'm not coming back next week. I'm going to sit down with him then. I'm going to have my conversation with him. I'm going to do my first appointment with him. I'm going to go through my presentation with him after that. And then I'm going to ask him, so what do you think about all this? He's going to go, his service sounds good. Okay, cool. If I bring in some samples, we go over pricing. If this looks good, you're ready to get this thing rocking and rolling. That's my favorite phrase. I use that all the time. My second favorite phrase would be, so, should we get paperwork started for you real quick? And then I just stop and look at them. And then they go, let's do it. And then boom. The other side of this too is there's not one person that has a lock on all the great ideas out there. Meaning, don't just listen to my podcast and think, okay, cool, I'm going to listen to what he says because he's obviously an expert, because I'm not. That's the reason I have people like Jason Parody. That's the reason I have people like Will McDonald. That's why I have people like Allison Abbott and Bill Wise on the podcast, because I want people that are actual experts in the field, not just to contribute to my podcast, but also to go back and teach you guys how to do it too. Now, a lot of it is personality as well. If a prospect genuinely doesn't like you, it doesn't matter the closing techniques that you have, because the prospect's not going to want to do business with you. Make sense? Again, it goes back to a dating analogy. Like, if my wife didn't find me physically attractive, let's be honest, look at this. She's not going to go on a first date with me ever. No, she did say no to me 4 times. She'll say 3. It's 4. Maybe I'm contradicting myself there. I don't know. As far as closing goes, I would say always, always, always be closing with every conversation that you have. So, that being said, I know this was short. It's only 16 minutes or so. Or at least I'm looking at the clock right now, 16 minutes. It might be a little bit longer with some of the edits I'm going to put in. But guys, please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to my podcast. This week, I'm hoping to have a very, very special guest on who is going to talk about something completely different than what we normally talk about, which is going to be awesome. So please feel free to like and subscribe. If you haven't gone to check out Jason Parody's episode, go check it out. I know I mentioned Allison Abbott. Go check out Allison Abbott's episode. The way to do that, guys, you can go to my YouTube channel, Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. Click on like, click on subscribe. and then you should get updates onto when that's coming up. I also put together a playlist, so if you click on the playlist button and you see all the episodes, feel free to go through and click and look at whichever ones you guys want to view. Guys, thanks so much. It was great talking to you guys again, and we will see you later this week.